In the early 2000s, MySpace was one of the most visited websites on the Internet. By 2005, it had more monthly users than Google. For many teenagers, it was their entire online identity. Music careers formed there. Friend groups lived there. Profiles were messy and slow, but people stayed. In July 2005, News Corp bought MySpace for $580 million. The question changed almost immediately. Growth was no longer the challenge. Extraction was. Advertising solved that problem. Banner ads, pop-ups, autoplay videos. More revenue appeared quickly. At first, the site still functioned. Then pages slowed. Profiles froze. Load times stretched. Users complained. Performance fixes were expensive. Advertising was profitable. The choice repeated. Between 2006 and 2008, MySpace's page load times increased while ad inventory expanded. Nothing broke overnight. Users didn't protest. They adjusted. Then they drifted. By 2008, Facebook, which had focused on speed and simplicity, overtook MySpace in U.S. traffic. Advertisers followed users. In 2011, News Corp sold MySpace for $35 million. The platform was not defeated by a better idea. It was slowed down by choices that paid immediately and charged later. A different industry made a similar trade-off decades earlier. In the 1960s, Pan Am World Airways, known as Pan Am, represented global travel. Its branding stood for modernity and dominance. In 1963, Pan Am became one of the first airlines to commit to the Concorde, a supersonic aircraft. In 1966, it ordered 25 Boeing 747s, costing more than $500 million, equivalent to several billion today. The planes were impressive. They were also expensive to operate. Many flew half full. As long as fuel prices stayed low, the image worked. In 1973, oil prices surged during the energy crisis. Fuel costs doubled, then tripled. Empty seats became liabilities. Pan Am canceled its Concorde order in January 1973. The debt remained. By the 1980s, the airline had lost billions. In December 1991, Pan Am shut down. The brand survived longer than the economics. Technology companies later repeated this pattern in belief rather than image. In January 2007, BlackBerry executives watched the unveiling of the iPhone. At the time, BlackBerry dominated the smartphone market. In 2009, it was valued at $83 billion. Its physical keyboard was seen as essential for serious users. Touchscreens looked inefficient. Email worked perfectly. Nothing appeared broken, so urgency felt unnecessary. What changed was not typing, it was expectations. Phones became platforms. Apps mattered more than keys. By 2013, BlackBerry's global market share fell below 1%. The hardware still worked, the context no longer did. Scale can hide risk in a different way. For decades, General Electric expanded across industries: energy, appliances, healthcare, media, finance. Under CEO Jack Welch, the strategy worked. By 2001, GE was one of the most valuable companies in the world. A large part of its profit came from GE Capital, effectively a massive financial institution. As long as credit was cheap, the structure held. In 2008, during the financial crisis, GE Capital required $139 billion in government guarantees. The finance arm didn't fail alone. It destabilized the entire company. In 2018, GE was removed from the Dow Jones Industrial Average after more than a century. Complexity amplified risk instead of containing it. Some platforms failed for simpler reasons. Friendster, founded in 2002, was one of the first major social networks. By 2003, it had millions of users. The servers couldn't handle demand. Pages stalled. Messages vanished. Engineers warned leadership. Infrastructure upgrades were expensive. Waiting was cheaper. As long as users tolerated delays, nothing felt urgent. When faster platforms arrived, tolerance disappeared. By 2005, Friendster's user base collapsed. Reliability mattered more than novelty. Other failures came from solving problems that didn't exist. In April 2020, Quibi launched with $1.75 billion in funding. The idea was premium video, under 10 minutes, designed only for phones. Episodes cost up to $100,000 per minute. Sharing was restricted. TV viewing was blocked. The assumptions were precise. The behavior was not. By October 2020, Quibi shut down, returning less than $400 million to investors. Nothing was technically broken. The fit was wrong. Retail showed another version of delay. For decades, Radio Shack dominated electronics accessories. By the early 2000s, devices became sealed, and cables became cheap online. Stores stayed confusing. Sales tactics stayed aggressive. Habit kept customers temporarily. Convenience replaced it. Radio Shack filed for bankruptcy in 2015 with over $1 billion in debt. Learning can also be outsourced by mistake. In 2000, Toys R Us partnered with Amazon to run its online sales. Amazon handled data, logistics, and customer behavior. Toys R Us did not. When Amazon began selling toys directly in 2004, the knowledge gap was permanent. By 2017, Toys R Us carried over $5 billion in debt and collapsed. Growth hid imbalance elsewhere. WeWork, founded in 2010, signed long-term leases and sold short-term memberships. By 2019, it was valued at $47 billion. In 2018 alone, it lost $1.9 billion. When growth slowed, the structure failed. Finally, leverage removed flexibility entirely. In 2007, Lehman Brothers held more than $30 of debt for every dollar of equity. When housing prices fell, confidence vanished. On September 15, 2008, Lehman filed for bankruptcy with $613 billion in assets. Across industries and decades, the pattern repeats. The decisions worked at first. They produced measurable success. The cost arrived later, slowly, then all at once. The danger was never intelligence. It was stopping one step too soon.